Shahrukh Ali writes, why do sometimes and quite often directors of Best Picture Oscar-winning movies not win the Best Director Oscar? Shouldn't they win it by default? Your thoughts, please.
I can totally understand, why you would raise the question. We just talked a little bit ago about a picture that I believe won Best Picture, which was Chicago, where the director was nominated but did not win, in Rob Marshall. It happens from time to time. Argo, for example, won Best Picture. Ben Affleck did not walk home with the Best Director award. But here's the thing. While I always say that the most important person going into how good or bad a movie is going to be, there's a million pieces to this puzzle. The most important one is the director. Absolutely, it's the most important one. But allow me a sports analogy, if you will. I think it is also safe to say that the most important person on a football team is the quarterback. That is the most important person on your team. But that still means there's a ton of other pieces to that puzzle that will make up how good that team is. You watch a football game on a Sunday, you can't just sit back and go, it's like, which of these two teams has the best quarterback? Oh, then that team's going to win. Doesn't always work out that way because there are other pieces of the puzzle. You can watch him. Who's the best basketball player in the world? LeBron James. You still have to have other pieces of the puzzle around you. You can't go in that way. So while the director is the most important person, he's not the only thing that goes in. You still have to take into effect the cinematography. You got to take into effect the writing, the performances, like the other million other things that go into making a movie that you can sit down and go, my God, this movie was masterfully directed. When you look at what was available to the director, what they were able to put together was incredible. But this other movie, they seem to have a few other better pieces of the puzzle, and the director did a great job, maybe not better than the director of that job did, but overall, the final package of this movie was a better movie. And that happened. So now one doesn't necessarily equal the other, nor should it. Anyway, as a director yourself, Schnepp, your thought on that whole thing?
Well, it's a weird one because, I mean, like you said, normally Best Picture, the director wins as well. And that makes sense because the director's there sculpting the film basically from the beginning, from the script phase where it's just pages, to working with the actors, to working with the sound, the set, the design, the editing, all the way to the end. So, I mean, that person therein, if you say that's the best picture, it almost automatically makes sense that the director would win because the best picture is the producers of the film. Basically, that's the people who made the film, who funded it and produced it. So you're basically saying if it's the best picture, then it is the best directed film as well. So I mean, it is a weird one when you see like something like Argo win, yet the director is not even nominated. I think that only happened one other time in history. Very, very weird. And I find that hey, look, and also Affleck won the DGA as best director. So sometimes you have these really weird disparities, but overall, I think that's what makes the most sense when you're talking about these, award ceremonies where they've like taken the 16,000 movies that come out every year and brought it to 5. So out of those 5 movies, you have to pick what is the best movie. So they've they've reduced it all the way down to these 5 films, and then only one is going to be remembered for all time. So. Just a quick little factoid. This happened 22 times in Oscar history when a Best Picture and Best Director were not from the same movie. So 22 times in history. Out of how many Oscars? Yeah, it's like 80 something. 70th or 80, yeah. So it's the minority of the time.
Yeah, but we're also not talking about a supreme alien race that knows everything and is omnipotent. We're talking about human idiocy, even when it comes to winning a gold statue. So sometimes people just like to do different things, or they like to say, oh, I'm going to reward this director for his body of work, but I really like this other movie better. And sometimes you just make a mistake. Steven Spielberg clearly should have won for Saving Private Ryan, which he did. That movie should have also won Best Picture, which it didn't because Shakespeare in Love won. And it's one of the most cringeful pain thing I've ever seen. When you are watching Steven Spielberg give his Best Director speech, he's saving something so he can get back up there the next award and talk about how important it was to make this movie, and he never got that chance because Shakespeare fell in love.
I actually voted for Shakespeare in Love.
It's not a bad movie. It is a very good movie, but it ain't Private Ryan.